Let's move along here to Noah. Is that right? Noah B. You're up next, sir. Hello.
Yep. So this is a 1-1 home game, deep stack. We're nine-handed and 750 effective.
1-1 home game. This sounds like a home game where maybe there's no rake. It's an actual home game, right?
Yeah. So I mean, it's low rake.
Oh, it is? Okay. Rake for like dinner and drinks or something like that?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. No one's trying to making money off the game in rake form.
I'm in the Atlanta area, so
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
used to pretty heavy raked games.
Do you ever go to Choctaw?
I've not. No, I just go up to Cherokee.
That's what I meant. Excuse me. That's what I meant. Cherokee. Sorry.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, Cherokee. I met a lot of people from Atlanta at Cherokee.
That is the weekend destination for all
Yeah.
the poker players in the area.
All right. So nine-handed 750 effective. Okay.
So a little context on the game, like it's very deep stack. Effective stack of the table was like 3K at this point,
The effective stack or the biggest stack?
or the biggest stack. That's what I
Okay.
meant. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then context on villain is probably one of the best players at the table. I could tell he plays 2-5 plus and 5-5 from the conversations that I was overhearing, and because it's so deep stacked, it seemed he was pretty comfortable putting in stacks.
What's the
So
average? Are there straddles in this game at all?
button straddles. Yeah, but the average open actually is like 3 to 5, so
That's
it is
crazy.
1, right?
That's crazy. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm on the button, and I button straddle to 3.
Okay. So hero button straddle. So does it go through the small blind,
Yes, sir.
and then do you get like ultimate last action, or it just goes in order?
Yeah, I get ultimate last action.
Okay. So I think that's called like a Houston straddle, meaning like you're just always going to act last, no matter what happens in front of you, like 3-bet, 4-bet. Yeah. Okay. That's a huge thing, huge advantage for anybody with button straddles. Okay. So button straddle 3. Okay.
Yep. So I have king 6 of hearts.
Okay.
Under the gun or small blind under the gun and +1 call, and I check.
Small blind under the gun and +1 call, and hero checks. So they call for $1.
Or for $2.
Oh, for $3. So excuse me.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right, right. It's $3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's like $12, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Uh huh.
13. Yeah, 13 with the
13.
big blind.
Okay.
Cool. So the flop is ace of hearts, 10 of hearts, and then like a offsuit jack. I didn't remember exactly what it is,
I'm gonna put
but that
jack.
doesn't really matter.
I'm gonna put jack of clubs out there. So ace of hearts, jack of clubs, 10 of hearts. Okay.
Yep. So action checks to me.
Okay.
I bet 12.
So check,
under-
check, check, and hero bets 12. And this is another thing that we talk about on Crush Live Poker, small stakes exploit, where the pot's so small, absolute bet size is the driving force here in the sense of it's not like this is 100% pot size bet where certain things are calling only very strong hands are calling a pot size bet. It's just a bet of 12. And then as the pot gets bigger, it works the other way around where if someone's betting 500 into $1,000 at 1-1, that's a huge bet. And people are not calling with the equivalent of half pot or thinking of the strength of someone's hand as a half pot size bet. Okay, so you go 12 with the nut flush draw, combo draw.
Yep. So under the gun calls, and then +1 raises to 50.
So under the gun calls, and +1 goes to 50. So to 50. One of the things that I would look at here in terms of hand reading on this type of texture, because you would think, wow, well, this is a very strange, a little bit sort of weird in the sense that, you know, the hands that hit this board should raise pre-flop. But then I would look back and I'd be like, well, is someone going for a limp re-raise pre? Because that's like so super common at the low stakes. But then I would look and I would say, oh, this guy actually wasn't under the gun. He was second. Sometimes you still will see some people second go for a limp re-raise. However, then there's even more layers to this where it's a button straddle. So you've already had additional people limp in up front. So he's actually fourth to act. So all those things point towards like you would want to raise a big hand, not go for a limp re-raise. But then there's one other thing, which is, are you a maniac in the button straddle? Like, does he think that you're like raising? Because you'll try to see people try to trap a lot, like against button straddles.
I think my image at that game so far was, I showed down some bluffs, I showed down some value. I wasn't making any terribly maniac plays. And then further from the villain context, I think he's too good to do these like limp re-raise.
So you don't think so? So he's
No,
not limp. But then, if you think he's a decent player, you really should never have like the best hand that you can have here is probably like Jack 10 off, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
But kind of on the flip side, like I was when I thought about this hand on the flop, like he's capped as well.
Well, for the reasons we said, right? He's not going to have aces, jacks, tens, but maybe once in a while someone's got king, queen off or something like that. But again, like,
I would expect him to raise that in this
okay.
configuration. And again, just because it's
And he
so
should be
deep,
betting the flop too, right? Even if he somehow
exactly.
limped in with king, queen off. I mean, God.
Like it's a $3 straddle and
Yeah.
it's 750 effective. Like I would expect him to open king queen offsuit most of the time, even ace 10 offsuit a lot.
So what kind of hands then could, and it's just so strange to see somebody check raise from the, if you think he's somewhat competent out of this spot because he's sort of second to last to act and anything decent should bet. So I don't know if he's trying to make a play at you or maybe he's got a lower heart draw that he wasn't going to bet. And then when you bet late position and then somebody else folded, he was like, oh, I can check raise this guy, you know, off of, off of the hand. But for all those reasons, though, I think this is just a call. I don't want to drive out lower hearts. And if he has like Jack 10, or if he actually has something that's value-y, or he's just making some sort of airball bluff, you sort of want to keep him in. I just don't see the need really to bet 3-bet here with your sort of combo draw because of what's sort of going on. There's, like I said, there's a lot of sort of low stakes like layers to this, dealing with pre-flop and hand reading and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think. Well, I did 3-bet to 140, and I think part of what came into my head was the fact that under the gun was still left to act. I know the raise size is.
But under the gun still have to act, but you got the nut draw though. Like if you had 8-9 of hearts, I could see it, or some sort of other heart. Like if you have king 6 of hearts here, and let's say I know we don't know what this guy is, but this is the scenario sometimes when you have a nut draw. Like let's say that this guy actually has a value hand here, okay? And he's not full. Let's say he just got you beat, right? And let's say the other guy's got a weak ace. With your hand, you want the other guy to call. You want the money in the pot, right? Because you've got the nut draw. You don't need to drive anybody out. You see what I'm
Yeah, that
saying?
makes sense. Yeah.
Now, if you say, well, I don't know what this guy has, I want to drive out some other made hand, maybe that has some merit. But
I mean, I was thinking also, so obviously, plus one could have queen 9 of hearts, 8 9 of hearts. I was also thinking maybe he could have some like semi bluff, like hands with showdown. Maybe like queen jack with a heart or something. Just with blockers and the back doors. But
why would he check raise queen to get you off of like ace deuce off or something
because
like that?
because he knows that like maybe I'm just betting and my range is capped to like jack 10.
Yeah, but then what are you representing when you 3-bet at the flop though?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I assume you're raising all king queens here pre.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
okay, so you 3-bet to 140.
Yeah, that was inflection point number one, and he ends up calling.
So fold, and then he calls. So plus one calls. Well, we know that he doesn't have it pure air, right? So your head's up. Yep.
Yep, so the turn is an offsuit 6.
6 of spades. Ace of hearts, jack of clubs, 10 of hearts, 6 of spades. So you make a pair. Okay. Which is only relevant just in case he has jack 10. It gives you more outs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it checks to me.
So now he checks.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, because you 3-bet pre, right? So, yeah, plus one checks. Mm-hmm.
This is inflection point number 2. I decide to bet 200 here. I don't know. I don't know exactly how I feel about that looking back. I think what popped in my head is if I check this back, like obviously I can realize my equity, but I'm put in a bit of a sticky spot if it bricks and then he kind of barrels, I guess.
Well, it's not as sticky anymore with having a pair of sixes now. Although if you had a bluff, you were winning with king high anyways. This sort of reminds me of that big queen high call down from a couple months ago that we went over where I called down with queen high and the similar set of, not the same board, but a similar set of circumstances. I did not three bet the flop, but I called the check raise and then got checked to on the turn. I checked it back and then ended up calling with queen high. I don't know, like what's the purpose of this bet though? Because you either have him in a situation where, by the way, I mean, I guess once in a while I could have Jack X of hearts, like Jack Nine of hearts or something like that. But you either have him in a situation where you've got a draw, you're dominating his draw, or he's just not going to fold. I don't know. It to 200. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. We usually want to have a reason to bet. Sometimes we make range bets, but this is far from that.
Because
So
we
it's
don't have much king queen, if
so
any.
so. My question to you would be like, what is the purpose of this bet? And you can answer. I mean, you can give me an answer.
I mean, I was thinking that like if he does, obviously if he does have a combo draw or lower hearts, like he'll call.
So you
Um,
saying that it's a value bet against lower draws?
yeah, I mean that's like it was kind of going through my head thinking about it. Like when I thought about why am I betting the turn, like is it a value bet or is it like a semi bluff? And I'm not even sure that I really know. Which probably means I should have just checked, because I can get, will 9 10 of hearts and queen 9 of hearts call, maybe. They also might jam,
What did you say? Queen ten
but,
of hearts or nine ten of hearts?
or queen 9.
Oh
Queen
yeah,
9 of hearts, or,
or
sorry,
eight
queen 9 of
nine.
hearts or 8 9 of hearts, yeah.
Well, I mean that would be a value bet. That's fine. I mean, if but we're really going down weeds because it's so few combos of hands. It's just
Yeah,
I don't know. I just kind of think like once he calls your three bet, I still think that there's probably more hands that he's not folding that have you beaten now. Although it is very strange. I don't know. I just think checking back and then evaluating what people do on rivers, and then it allows you to sometimes overflush them. Although if he's got that big of a combo draw, anyways, maybe he'll call. I just think I would do a lot of checking back here, but like I said, I probably wouldn't have three bet the flop all that much. But okay, so you go 200.
and he thinks about it for a bit, and then he jams for
I was just
600.
gonna say, what happens if he jams? As Sam Gibson just said, it's hard. That's another reason not to bet, by the way, which is to not opening the betting up,
Hmm.
right? Because if you bet now, he's gonna jam. Although you're not all that deep, so we're gonna have to obviously do a little bit of math problem. So he jams.
Yeah,
So plus one jams.
so that's like
So
600-ish.
600 total.
Yeah, 600 total.
So it's like 1100, 400 for you to call, something like that. Like 11, 15, 400 to call. That's
Yeah,
probably about right. So you're getting one, two, just under 3 to 1. And you've got, if we're going to discount anyone having a set, which wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. So 9 hard outs, and if he had something, and then you have 3 gut shoutouts to a queen. That's if he doesn't have like king queen off. Like say he had something like jack 10 and he was just going with it. You'd have actually you have more than that though, right? Because you picked up extra outs with a pair now too. So if he had jack 10, you've got 2 outs to a 6, and then you have 3 outs to a king, which is 5. That's 14 outs plus another 3 queen outs is 17. Even if he had something like ace 10 off, you still actually, well, no, you can't. You don't have the king as outs, but in that case, you've got 11, 14 outs. You're getting 3 to 1. It looks like it's a call to me because right now at 15 outs, you only need 2 to 1. You're getting 3 to 1. You really only need to find like 11 outs. And this is because there's just no way he has a set here, right? And I mean,
exactly.
if you had a set of jacks, then yeah, you've got a couple less outs. You can't hit a 6 or a jack, so you'd have 7 hard outs, and then another 3 queen outs, so it'd be 10 outs. But still, like if he showed you a set of jacks, you would need like right around 3.5 to 1, which you're not getting. But that's it. That's the only one, right?
Yeah.
Set of tens, you'd actually have, well, same thing, I guess, with the set of tens, heart, heart. I don't know. I think I would call here.
Yeah, I
Walking
kind of
through it.
thought that through, and I thought the equities were closer in my head when I was tanking. But it was close enough, and I was like, he doesn't have much ace ten or king queen, so I feel like it's probably I'd probably have to call.
Well,
So I
well,
did.
actually, ace 10 would be one of the ones that you'd want to see. You don't want to see king queen,
Yeah,
right? You don't want to see king queen. That's the worst one that you can see, even worse than like a set. So, whatever. But I think at this point, but that is it's interesting because it brings up another reason not to bet turn because you're going to get jammed on. So you called?
yeah, exactly.
You
So
called?
I called. River bricked out,
Okay.
and he told me that I was good, and showed eight nine of hearts.
Eight, nine of hearts. Wow, that's a really, really bad play by him in the sense that if you're talking about how you know he knows and he knows you know, right? You
Yeah,
three bet the flop and you bet the turn. Why is he check jamming eight, nine of hearts? What
yeah.
fold equity does he ever have here?
I thought that was really strange.
I mean, that's just a bad play. I don't know if this guy listens to the show, but I mean, and then also too with the possibility that you actually might have a higher heart draw than he does. I just can't imagine any hand that you're playing like this and folding to the turn.
Yeah,
So T Corruptus says, "Oh, so you were betting for value on the turn."
I think when he jams the turn, it's like I don't know. It felt like Jack ten or like his like semi bluffs.
It wouldn't have felt like his semi bluffs to me. I'd have to have very low respect for this player to think this was a semi bluff on the turn because there should be no fold equity whatsoever from you. But I know it's interesting. I like to go over these limp pots because it's pretty characteristic of. This is an interesting one too because you're getting a free look like in the blind here as well. But I mean, let me ask you this question: if you, because I'm trying to think, like, let's say that you had Jack 10 off here, okay, that you didn't raise, you might play this the same way, right?
Yeah,
If you didn't think that he could really ever have a hand because of preflop, so you're like, screw this guy, I'm going to three bet the flop. I have the best hand here with Jack 10, and obviously you're never going to fold, right? On the turn, I'll tell you what a dirty card would have been if you lost was like an offsuit eight. You would have lost, right? He's got to catch an offsuit eight or an offsuit nine or an offsuit seven, right? In order to win. River's like a eight of clubs and you lose to eight nine of hearts. That would have been brutal. You have to walk that one off. Thanks a lot for the call, Noah. Appreciate it.
thanks, Bart. I appreciate it.